Hello friends, welcome to Easy Coding with Amara once again, and this is the part 2 of PDF with the Firebase storage. And in the previous video I will show you how you can store the PDF file in the Firebase storage, and then how you can store the link of that PDF file in the Firebase database. So in this video I will show you how you can fetch the PDF file and show in the list view. And after that, when someone clicks on the item, some items in the list view, then how we can open that PDF file in our Flutter app. So let's open the Android Studio. But before starting the code, you will see that this type of GitHub account, and you will see I upload different codes related to different programming languages, Android and Flutter. So if you need any code, then you have to check this account, and I will provide the link in the description box. Now let's open the Android Studio. So this is the previous video code, and you will see that in the previous video we will create the floating action button, and inside this floating action button I simply call a method which is this get PDF and upload, and inside this method we upload the PDF in the Firebase storage, and after that I store the URL in the Firebase database. So in this video, first step is get the data from the Firebase database, and after that show the data in the list view. So for getting the data from the Firebase database, I am going to override a method here in the last, which is init. And you will see this type of init method, and for override this init method you have to press Ctrl O. Okay, so Ctrl O. So this is the method which runs first time when our app is installed in our mobile phone. So whenever our app is installed in our mobile phone, the very first method, which is this method, is runs. So that's why I am going to get the data inside this method. So now I write this whole code to fetch the data from the Firebase database, and you will see that this man reference, and inside this man reference we have a node which is database. And first I will show you the Firebase project. So open the project and open this JSON file, and after that you have to copy this URL from here and paste in the Google to open this project in the Firebase. And you will see that this type of database node, and inside this database node you will see this type of ID, and after that you will see this type of file name, and this is the PDF, and inside this PDF we save the link of PDF file which is stored inside the Firebase storage. Okay, so now I am going to fetch this data and store inside the list. So now let's close this and understand this code, and you will see that I get the data from this node, and inside this main reference we have a database node. So I fetch the data inside the database node, and after that I get the value and store inside this data, and then simply create a for loop. So just remove this print statement, and we have to need to show these print statements. Okay, so now I am going to create this item list, and you will see that to create this item list we have two types of data. The first one is file name and the second one is PDF. So we have two strings, so we have to create a model class first. So I create here a model class, and inside this model class I simply create two type of strings variable. The first one is link and the second one is for the name, and then create a constructor. Okay, so now I am going to create a list here whose type is model, and I am going to copy this name and write it here. Okay, so now click Alt Enter to import this, and you will see that here the error is remove. So here I simply clear this item list so that it did not overwrite the data again and again. Okay, so after that I create a for loop, and then I simply store the data inside this list, and after that I have to refresh this item list by using these set state methods. Okay, so I simply remove this code. So in this way I get all the data from the database and store inside the item list. And now the next step is create a list view and show all the data inside that list view .builder. So I am going to create the list view in body section. So here first you will know that in the first time the length of this item list is equals to 0 until the data is loaded from the Firebase database. So the first time when the list length is 0, we show a message of loading, and when the length of this list is changed, then we will show this type of list view. Okay, so this is the whole code for the list view, and inside this list view, first I create the class which is padding, and inside this padding class I simply give some padding from the left side, and after that I use this gesture detector class which detects when someone clicks on the item of the list view. So when someone click on the item of list view, then I open the other page which is view PDF, and inside this view PDF page I simply show the PDF file. Okay, so now just forget this code for some time and go down, and you will see I use this stack class. So whenever you want to create some child above that other child, then you have to use the stack class. Okay, so that's why I use the stack class here, and first I create the container, and inside that container I insert the image, and you will see that this type of container, and inside this container I insert this red image. Okay, so after that I create this type of center class, and inside this center class I create another container and simply show this text which is stored inside our item list, and you will see that here this is my book 3, my book 2, and I concatenate this index with this name, and you will see that here I write the name my new book. So I concatenate this my new book with 1, 2, 3 and so on. And also in the first time I add 1 to the index because the first time the index is 0 and I did not want to show the 0, so that's why I add 0 plus 1. So the very first time it shows my new book 1. Okay, so now I am going to run this code to show the list view. But before running the code, I am going to add this image in our asset folders. And first I am going to create the asset folder here. So right click and go to directory, write asset here, and then go to the list file and scroll down, and you will see here this type of assets. Make sure you have to remove this space, and after that you have to write the folder name, which is asset. And now I simply paste the image inside this asset folder. So I paste the image here, and you will see this type of image. Press OK, and then select the Android from here and go to this plan. Click on this, and you will see that this is executed successfully. Now let's run this code. Okay, so app is running, and you will see this type of loading, and but it did not load the data, so I think we make some mistake, and the length of the list. Okay, so here you will see that I overwrite init method 2 times. So first remove this and then paste it. Okay, so now let's run this code again. And you will see the app is restarted, and you will see this type of two lists items, and still the background is not showing. So first check what will happen to this background. So first check the name of this image, which is PG999. It's okay. So let's uninstall this app and then install it again. So the app is installed, but the image is still not loaded, and you will see this type of error here, unable to load asset, which means that we make some mistake. And I'm going to open this file, and you will see this type of asset, and you will see here I misread the spellings, and now it is removed. Let's open the Android and press Ctrl S and click on this. Okay, so now let's run again, and you will see that the image is loaded. So now the next step is whenever someone clicks on this PDF, the PDF is open in the next page. And for that, I am going to uncomment this whole code. And you will see that first I store the link inside this pass data, and then I pass this variable inside this navigator.push. And first I am going to create this view PDF class here. And I am going to copy this class and write it here. Press Alt Enter to import, and I simply pass the link of the PDF file to this view PDF. Okay, so whenever someone clicks on this My New Book 1, then I pass the link of this PDF to the next page by writing this code. And if the user click on this PDF, then I pass the link of this PDF to the next page by writing this code. Okay, so now I simply use the PDF viewer package, you will see that I import in the previous video to show the PDF file. Okay, so this is the package. So first get the link which is coming from this first page, and by writing this code I simply get the link of the PDF from this page, which is first page, and store inside this data. And now I am going to create a variable which is PDF document to store the PDF document, and you will see this type of error, and simply press the Alt Enter to import this package. And now I simply get the PDF file from this link which is stored inside this data. So this is the function which is view now, and inside this function I simply get the PDF file by using this data, and inside this data we have a link. So in simply I get the PDF file from the URL and store inside the PDF, and then simply I set the state, and you will see that whenever we have the change the value of some variable, so when I declare this document variable, there is no data inside this document variable and it contains the null value. Okay, so when I write this code, we store some data inside this document. So that's why whenever we have to change the data of some variable, then we use this type of set state method. And after that I create another function which is loading function, and you will see that this type of function, and it simply returns a widget. That's why its return type is widget. Okay, so in this function first I call this view now, and inside this view now I simply store the PDF file inside this document. Okay, so first I call this function to store the PDF document inside this doc variable, and then I simply check if this doc is equals to null. So the first time this doc is equals to null, then it returns the logic. So the purpose of this function is simply first it load this function. First it calls this function to load the PDF file and store inside this doc, and the second purpose of this method is when we have nothing inside this doc variable, then it returns the loading, so the user view this loading message. Okay, so now first I am going to call this loading function from here, and this is very simple code. Inside this return, first I create this fr, set the color, set the title, and after that in the body section I simply check if the document is equals to null. So the first time the document is null. Okay, so it calls this loading function, and inside this loading function you will see I call this view now class which loads the PDF and store inside this doc, and then set the state, which means that when it loads the PDF file and store inside this doc variable, then it changes the state of this doc. And after that, after some time when the PDF is loaded, then this doc variable is not equals to null, then it simply calls this PDF viewer class, and inside this I pass simply the document. Okay, so this is very simple code. I hope you understand all the logic which I created. Okay, so now let's run this code to show the output. Okay, so now the app is restarted, and you will see this type of array, and if I click on this array, you will see this type of loading message, and after some time you will see this type of PDF viewer, and when I click on next, you will see the second page. It has two pages, and this is for backward and this is for forward page. And similarly, if I click on some other PDF, so this is the same PDF like the other one, so that's why you will see same PDF, because I have no PDF in my mobile device in this time. And if you want to add some PDF, you have to click on this button and then the PDF is open inside your gallery. Sorry, inside your downloads, because the PDF is saved in the downloads file. Okay, so if you like this video, please let me know in the comment box. I hope you like this video. See you soon. Allah Hafiz.